Greetings, my name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, licensed presenters, the Core New Core, my patrons, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor, student, or a human being. I found a kitchen timer in my kitchen drawer, and there's a quote I have before my four things, and the quote is from Mr. Blumberg, who was a teacher of mine, and whenever we were about to have his class, students would ask questions about what was about to happen. Namely, are we going to have a quiz? And his standard reply was, stick around and find out. And for much of the anxiety of wanting to know what is about to happen, just hear Mr. Blumberg saying, stick around and find out. So, four things today. The 40-minute mat, Charlie's mat class, Zoom plus PayPal equals easy income, and observing connects you to the internet, to the universe, faster than light. Maybe the internet too, who knows. And so, number one, the 40-minute mat. It's really humbling when someone takes your advice and goes out and starts doing something that they seem to be pleased with. And that's because on Zoom, if you have a meeting, if you can have one-on-one forever. So you can just do Zoom for free and teach based on what you see, how you see your student move. Okay. If 3 or more people show up, it only lasts 40 more minutes. And so I recommend it to my listeners, to my students, to just teach 40-minute mats. Right? Get used to structuring yourself within the time frame that's free. I talk forever and go until I'm exhausted and ready to leave, as though this were the last time I got to broadcast. Because at the end of every broadcast, I say that live can't live forever. And all the more poignant in the midst of a pandemic. So that takes me to, all right, the 40-minute mat. And I'm pleased that someone listened. I'm pleased that they're doing what they want to do. I think they're enthused about it, right? Oh, and that takes me to money too. Well, okay. Let's go to money. Let's go to number 3, Zoom and PayPal. Something that I'm observing is people adapting to teaching over the web, virtual training, over the internet. But definitely maintaining and connected to their current mechanism for billing, and merely wondering how to alter the billing based on it being virtual and not in person. So I'm going to have to switch those. In Zoom plus PayPal equals easier income, I highly encourage you to hook up Zoom to PayPal, meaning, well, I encourage you, see, Zoom is going to make money because everybody's paying $95 a month it's a monthly thing, to have the capacity to have an educational platform that records whatever you want of it, that makes it deliverable via the cloud. So as much as it seems everybody's just leaping it because they have to into virtual, they're maintaining their paradigm or the way they make money. They're maintaining that, either unaware of or unfamiliar with or don't know how to implement an easier income for some and maybe not for everybody. If you're signing up for a major online scheduler that also handles the billing, how does that fit into scheduling the actual classes and the billing happening within that? And because it actually has the class in it, there's a recording of the content that then is also deliverable on demand for the same price you charged for people that came to in person. You follow that? Oh. So I have this mat thing, and I have it set for 38 minutes, which would be 2 minutes before the end of 40 minutes, and then the other one at 40 minutes. So that if I were to just fly into a meeting and have it only last 40 minutes, I could push both buttons, start the countdown on both time frames. Now, you probably have a watch or your cell phone or whatever, but that staggered thing about a warning before you're going to be cut off because that's the end of your presentation. And maybe you really don't want to know. Artistically speaking, I'd be in the middle of your beginning so that the meeting starts and you're already in it. And of course, see, my objective is to teach the mat. And my objective for you is to teach the mat. To have a regular hour when somebody can tune in, easy to pay for, and collect that same delivery that they're familiar with. Because they want familiarity. They want to go deeper in what they're already familiar with in order to get more control. And I sort of then covered number 2, Charlie's mat class. The mat class that I held on Monday night, I wasn't realizing that everybody just wanted to watch. And yet that's so human nature, right? They showed up to observe. And then if they felt like moving, I guess, they could move along with what they were watching. But I came in on audio only, expecting to teach other movers that wanted cueing. And it seems that's really not what the audience wants. So I had an intermediate mat class that was a favorite of my DVDs, and I'd familiarized myself with that, and I watched that and instructed that for something to see. At the end of the mat, at the end of the push-ups, at the end of instructions, I ended the webinar. I collapsed the portal, and it was over. The same kind of thing happens when you're doing something for free and you've only got 40 minutes. If you just ran it so that when it started, you were already started, and when you were ending, it before your ending, the portal closed. You know, you ended the webinar. You ended the meeting. I'm not sure if you can do that. I'll bet you can in a meeting on Zoom. So my number 4 is my preposterous claim that observing connects you to the universe faster than light. Actually, I just say Pilates usually. And when I say Pilates, connects you to the universe. Actually, let me back up. Doing Pilates. That has a very specific meaning. Doing Pilates connects you to the universe faster than light. That's straight out of Michael Miller interpreting Nick Herbert's book, Quantum Reality, to where observing shows characteristics. The data shows characteristics. It shows observing having characteristics of superluminality and non-locality. Superluminal, like luminant light, super light or faster than light, and non-locality means connected at a distance. So connected at a distance is connected to the universe, and faster than light is a description of what superluminal means. And so maybe it'll only be a select few that get to or want to or can entertain this explanation of. But in MMP, Pilates is an experience. And the experience is in varying degrees or intensities, but aimed at complete coordination of your being, your thinking, and your observing. Being your body, thinking is one part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex. And in Michael Miller Pilates, that third part called spirit are the areas of your brain like the amygdala and hippocampus that feed information into your thinking. It's your senses to what the world is like out there. It's very simple and yet sublime insofar as this characteristic or state of observing that's necessary. You have to be listening to your sensation in your moving and adjusting your moving based on the sensation that's coming off of your moving. There's that feedback loop in there. And so in MMP, the definition in Joe's book of Contrology is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. In MMP, that just means your body, your prefrontal cortex, and then your amygdala hippocampal areas of your brain. Two different parts of your brain that have to talk to each other, that have to be coordinated. The part that is listening to what's going on out there beyond our body, and all that's going on in here in our thinking, our sensors. And then in the pursuit of the sequence, the choreography, the exercises, you're honoring the ideal nature of the physics we live in as biology. Well, the physics that we live in, and we live in that physics as a biological creature, as a water balloon walking on land. So, and we lost Ram Dass recently, I'm so sad to say, from Be Here Now. as one of his admonitions, and I think a book title of his. In doing Pilates, in uniform eccentric loading, flowing through progressive patterns of movement, in that you seek complete coordination of your being, thinking, and observing, and in that observing, participating, makes you more present. That's what Harley was talking about. You really have to be present. You know? I totally agree. Totally agree. And it is that presence that is the essence within MMP. That's MMP's definition of Pilates, is that complete coordination of your being, your thinking, and your observing as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing. That's the experience. And everything else beyond that is derivative. And as a Pilates instructor, knowing for me that what to aim for puts everything else into perspective, because you know what the heart of the target is. So dive into Zoom, having meetings that only last 40 minutes, but let 40 minutes then be your timestamp. See what I'm saying? I've talked about that, right? Be started before the meeting starts, and not be finished when the meeting's over. Let that be the structure of how it happens. Why? Because if I'm coming back, or I want to show up to that, and I want to show up with an expectation, I just want to find the tuning on the dial where the instructions come in and I can start moving. By voice, without relying on eyes. You think teaching tough is hard over the internet or virtually when you can't reach out and touch someone. Wait until you try to leave out the teaching and just do the instructing. Live can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Connect the dots, you know. It's so encouraging that a student heard what I had to say, and they're out and they're doing it, and they're totally into it. They're doing it all for free or getting their income out of other means. But when the number of people grows, and you'd like to expand the number of people to more than any than could ever attend in person, especially on a regular basis, the best you have to give a student is how to do what you want them to do, by instructing them in their doing, not teaching them in their mind. There's a huge difference between the two, and to the extent you recognize that, it empowers you in understanding the capacities that you're seeking to coordinate within your student. So in all this anxiety and our situation and adaptation to teaching over the web and all of it, right? Just the whole changed world that's life-threatening to all of us. Joseph Pilates, right back there in Spanish flu. Do not fail. Perhaps I can only encourage you to learn enough about what makes Pilates Pilates to appreciate the doing of Pilates, and that it is in the doing. It is in embracing and pursuing and trying to have as much of the experience as you can in the effort of doing Pilates, that you build a vibration or a resonance that you seek to maintain. And you can't, so you come back and keep doing it routinely. And that's why if you're doing 40-minute sessions, and you've got that down and it's happening good, then hopefully you heard me talk before about scheduling that hour that covers the broadest amount of time zones you can for when it works most conveniently for you. So it's not when you're used to and want to go back to just teaching in person. Pay special attention. Well, and so many, see, gosh. All right. I'm going to go on Facebook because I'm losing my voice. Connect the dots. Evaluate points of view. Direct your thinking. No, before that, evaluate points of view and then know how to add 2 and 2. Direct your thinking.